Yes, that is exactly what I want to do. Hey, oh wow, I am live, and this is the first time I've ever done this. So I'm really excited to share this process. Okay, so this is Miss Delina with Greenhouse Music, and today I am recording the podcast that is going to be out tomorrow, and I wanted to just share my experience as I do this. It's my first time doing it, so I'm excited, and hopefully, um, it comes out all right. So, without further ado, I'm going to get my script up, and I am using Soundtrap for my recording. It is a cloud based series, so it's really nice and it's kind of fun. Okay. So, if you're coming in, thank you. I appreciate you watching. We're going to get started. So, I like to do a quick little mic calibration. Here we go. Test, 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 test. Awesome. And then I pull up my script. And I would likely take lots of drink breaks because that is necessary. I hope you liked the gulp. All right, here I go. Hello, my musical friends. Welcome back to the Greenhouse Music Podcast with Miss Delena. Today, we're going on a special journey through the world of music to talk about something that is a little interesting. And I hope you find it interesting as well. See, and that's what happens when I ad lib. Don't really love it all the time. So I'm going to go back. Hello, my music. Welcome back to the Greenhouse Music Podcast with Miss Delena. So sometimes I do variations of whatever I've written down because what I have for my script is actually just a kind of broad. It's a little just something for me to follow, but not for me to say word for word. Today we're going to go and travel to and some things I don't like when they show up. Like I don't like when I say it out loud. Okay. Today we are going to talk about musical clefs. Clefs are those little symbols you see at the beginning of sheet music, and they're incredibly important for reading and playing music. We're going to explore the three main clefs today: the treble clef, the bass clef, and the alto clef. We'll learn about their history, how they've been used, their alternative names, why they're so important. Are you ready to unlock this musical journey with me? Okay, let's go discover. For my business and kind of my brand, I like to use a lot of the let's discover, let's grow, because my business is Greenhouse Music. Clef challenges. So I try to use those as much as I can in my podcast. And I do a lot of research prior to each podcast episode so that I can actually have the right information. And sometimes in the middle of something, if I doubt it, I have to go fact check it again. All right. First things first, what is a clef? A clef is a musical symbol that's placed at the beginning of the musical staff. And the musical staff is what we look at when we're playing an instrument or we're singing to know what notes we're going to play next. But which notes do we play? That's what the clef also helps us to know. The staff is made up of 5 lines and 4 spaces, and a clef tells us which notes go where, depending on which one we're being used. Think of it like a musical map. Without clefs, we wouldn't know how to read music, and that would make playing instruments a lot harder. Whew. I was like to run out of air, apparently. Okay, so hey there. Uh, let's look back at, okay. There we go. Clefs are essential because they help musicians of all kinds. pianists, violinists, singers, and more. They help them to know which notes to play. And different clefs are used for different instruments sometimes, and voices, depending on their range. Isn't that cool? Now let's explore each clef in a little bit more detail. Why I ended up wanting to talk about this was it was actually a podcast episode topic that was um, asked for by my daughter, which was really cool. Okay. I'm out of breath today. So, in here, I'm going to put in some background music transition, but I like to do that after. So, I just record all the audio of my voice first. Here comes some learning. Oopsies. There we go. Let's start with the treble clef, the most common clef and easily recognizable, especially for instruments like the piano, the violin, the flute, even the right hand of the harp. The treble clef is also called the G clef because it circles around the G line and it puts the G line in crosshairs. Kind of cool. It helps us mark where G is so that we always have that reference. If you look closely, you'll see that the spiral of the clef wraps around the second line from the bottom, and that is G. And if you put a treble clef kind of leaning forward, it also looks like a cursive G. So those are kind of the things that went into naming it the G clef as well as the treble clef. Historically, the treble clef evolved from that fancy letter G used in early music notation. Over time, it became the beautiful swirl that we use today. Isn't it fun to think about how music symbols have changed? The treble clef is often used for higher pitch notes. If you're a soprano singer or play an instrument like the trumpet or the clarinet, this is probably the clef that you'll read most often. And here's a fun fact. Many people learn to read music using the treble clef first. I need a breath break. I'm going to cut out some of that air first. And here's a fun fact often. So I like to kind of splice down some of my breath breaks that I take most often. And here's a fun fact. Many people learn to read music. You'll read most often. And here's a fun fact. This is probably. Okay, I'm going to go right here and take that off. All right. Now, if this is new information to you, tell me. I love knowing that. Oops, didn't want to do that. I'm going to take this off. Again, this is Soundtrap. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just really like the cloud baiting software. I already have a million files on my computers. I don't need more. All right, so here comes the whole reason of why this podcast episode came to be was because I was driving my daughter home from school and we were talking about the different clefs because she had just learned about it again in school. And she was like, we talked about this today. And I know you've told me about it, but we learned about it again today. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And she asked if there's any more. And I mentioned that there's the alto clef. So that's where this comes from. All right. Okay. We're going to start with our second segment. Here we go. Now for the alto clef. This clef is a little less common, but still very important. The alto clef is mostly famous used by the viola. I said that wrong. The alto clef is most famously used by the viola, and sometimes it's easier for instruments like the alto trombone. My breathing is not great today. The alto clef is most no, the alto clef, not cleft. The alto clef is most famously used by the viola, and sometimes it's used for other instruments like the alto trombone or even a voice, a singer. The alto clef is also called the C clef because it marks the middle C line on the staff. If you'll look closely at an alto clef, you'll see that the symbols point to the third line from the bottom. And that's where we find middle C in the middle of the piano as well. So it makes it easy to track it. The alto clef is unique because it's designed to fit the viola's range perfectly. The viola plays notes that are too high for the bass clef and too low for the treble clef. The alto clef sits right in the middle, making it just right for the viola's voice. Fun fact, there are other types of C clefs like the tenor clef, but the alto clef is the one you're most likely to see. Okay, here we go. I'm going to cut that last little pause out. I'm also probably going to cut this out. Now, with these gaps, the helpful thing is I put music in. There's a breath right there I don't want to have. All right. Now we're on to our next segment, the bass clef. Now let's move on to the bass clef. This clef is used for the lower pitch notes so that you'll see it on instruments like the tuba, the double bass, the bassoon, and the left hand of the piano. Also the trombone, which, if you remember, Miss Delana did play for a long time. The bass clef is also called the F clef for a couple different reasons. Similar to the treble clef, it also looks like a very cursive and fancy F. I think my breathing's a little off just because I'm a little nervous to be doing my first live. All right, let me skip that because it has two dots. There we go. I completely forgot where I was. All right, let's try that again. So you can see how sensitive this microphone is because of if I hit my desk with my elbow, it picks up this sound right here versus when I'm not speaking. So, all right, where did I start from? Bass clef. The bass clef is also called the F clef because it has two dots that surround the F line on the staff. And then it also has one bigger dot that is on the F line as well that kind of looks like a musical note. That's the second line from the top is F. Nope. Adjust that. That big dot that looks like a musical note marks the second line from the top of the bass clef, which is F. Okay. The bass clef is essential for giving music. Oopsies, I skipped a whole section. Okay. Like the treble clef, the bass clef has a long history. It started as a fancy letter, F, used in early music notation. Over time, it developed into a symbol that we use today. It's pretty amazing to think that musicians hundreds of years ago were using a similar system to the one that we use now. The bass clef is essential for giving music its depth and richness. Imagine a piano piece without the left hand notes that act as the harmony, or an orchestra without the deep rumble of the bass instruments. It would feel incomplete, wouldn't it? I do believe that. All right. Now, I didn't already add in more history, and I'm kind of already only at 5.5 minutes, less than that. And I want more history in it, so I like to sometimes just add a little bit by Googling history of musical clefs and see if I can find anything else that I haven't included in, because this is really my last chance to. So here's a fun fact about them. History of musical clefs can be traced all the way back to medieval music notation when symbols were used to indicate the melody's shape and direction. I really like that wording, so I actually might use it. Um, mm, and then the first thing that showed up is actually a bunch of fun facts that I might use in my quiz at the end too. But I'm looking to see if there's any extra little things. And so far, there's not a ton that I haven't already put in the script. But here's where I have a million different tabs showing all of a sudden. And I like to sometimes use this as a way to find other websites for research. I'm not really finding anything new, sadly enough. Yeah. Nothing that would be easy to put into this. Okay. So here we go. The role that clefs play in music notation goes back a really long ways. Clefs play a crucial role in music notation as they determine the pitch of each note on the staff. Understanding the significance of clefs in music notation is essential for musicians and composers and kids. Clefs not only indicate the pitch of the notes, but also provide valuable information about the tonal center and the overall structure of the musical piece. Now, remember when we learned a month ago about timbre? I don't know if I want to reference that. Never mind. I'm going to take that away. When a composer chooses a specific clef for a piece of music, they're effectively setting the pitch range for the notes that are to be written. Placing a clef on the staff, by doing this, every note on the staff will be corresponding to the specific pitch that was in that clef's design. So basically, it's like giving us a rule. Here are the notes that most likely you're going to play. Here's a hint. Oopsies. That's what I meant to say, not a rule. By doing this, every note on the staff will be corresponding to the specific pitch that was in that clef's design. By looking at the clef, we can determine the musical clues that I like to teach about. We use the clef as a hint to tell us what kind of notes we're going to play, and it really is helpful. The use of different clefs, such as the alto and the tenor clef, allows composers to notate music for instruments with unique pitch ranges, expanding the possibilities for musical expression and creativity. Some of my favorite musical words. Okay. Hmm. Do-do-do. Where am I? There it is. Okay. I just had to refind my spot. So, why do those clefs matter so much? Well, each clef helps make musicians understand where their notes are, gives them those hints, and ensures that everyone in the orchestra or band can play their part. Imagine how confusing it would be if every instrument used the same clef all the time. The bassoon would have notes way down below the staff, and the flute would have notes way up high. Clefs help keep everything nice and organized. Clefs also make it easier for composers to write music. By using different clefs, they can make sure the notes fit neatly on the staff without needing a lot of extra ledger lines, which are tiny, tiny little lines that help complete the staff and help you keep track of notes as you get higher and lower. But they can be really hard because you have to count each one and do a little math to figure out what note you're playing. Without having to use those ledger lines, it's me. Okay, where was I without having? When you don't have to use the ledger lines, it makes the music easier to read and play for the musicians. Okay, now we're going to do some hints. Are you guys ready for a quiz? Let's study. Here we go. I'm going to give you some questions to see what you learned today, and I want you to guess the answer. Here's the first question. This clef is also known as the G clef. Which one is it? What was its name? That would be the treble clef. Great job if you got that one. This clef is also known as the F clef. Oops, I didn't say question number 2. Here's our next question. All right, this clef is also known as the F clef. Do you remember which one that was? It's for lower notes. Oops, you can hear my kid in the background. Which one that was? It's for low. I'm going to take out a part of that. This is one thing about working from home. Okay. That would be the bass clef. Great job if you guessed that one. Here's our next question. This clef is used most commonly for the instruments that play low. Which one is it? That would also be the bass clef. Good job. Which one? Okay, so I'm going to take out that first pause. That was the third question. Question number 4. This clef is also known as, oopsies, I need to include next question. Next question. This clef is also known as the C clef. Which one was it? The alto clef. All right. We're going to do another one. Here's our next question. This clef is used for instruments like the violin, the flute, the trumpet, and higher pitched voices. Which one is it? That would be the treble clef. I am going to re-record my intro to this game. So why do those clefs matter so much? When you don't have to use the ledger lines. Here, I'm going to take out. Are you guys? Let's study. Here. Are you guys ready for a quiz? Let's study. Here we go. I'm going to give you some questions to see what you learned today, and I want you to guess the answer. I'm going to take all of that out and reword it. I didn't like the way it showed up. Okay. It makes the music easier to read and play for the musicians. Are you guys ready for your game of the day? We're going to play Which Clef Is It? I'm going to give you a hint, and then you get to guess, is it the treble clef, the bass clef, or the alto clef? You think you can do it? I hope you were listening. Here we go. I think that's much better. Here's the first question. This clef is also known as the G clef. Which one is it? What was its name? That would be the treble clef. Here's our next question. All right, this clef is also known as the F clef. Oops. Question number 2. Question number 2. All right, this clef is also known. All right. That would be the bass clef. Great job with that one. Here's our next question. This clef is used most commonly for the instruments that play low. Which one is it? That would also be the bass clef. Good job. Next question. So that was 3 questions. So this is question number 4, hopefully. I'm going to put that in there. Question number 4. As the C clef is also known. This clef is also known as. Okay. That was scary for a second. It wouldn't stop. The alto clef. Here's our next question. Number 5. Question number 5. Oopsies. Trying to do space on here. Question number 5. This clef is used for instruments like the violin, the flute, the trumpet, and higher pitched voices. Which one is it? That would be the treble clef. All right. I did alto clef. Or this clef is also known as the C clef. Okay. This clef is used for instruments like the violin, the flute. Question number 4. Question number 5. This clef is used for instruments like the viola, viola da gamba, alto trombone, and mandola. Which one is it? Did you guess the alto clef? If you did, good job. Here's our next one. Did I say question number 6? That would be the treble clef. This clef is used for. Oopsies, I didn't. Man, I'm terrible at that. Okay. Question number 6. Question number 7. I wanted to do one about like them being the different lines. Did I have that in there? Okay, here we go. This clef marks the middle C line on the staff. Which one is it? Question number 7. This clef marks the middle. I just did alto clef. Maybe I should wait. Okay. next one? Question number 7. This clef marks the second line. Second line without saying G clef. This clef marks the second line in what is known as the EGBDF. No. Clef marks the second line in its clef. This clef started out, I thought I had one more. Where is it? I don't have any more fun facts. I'm out of fun facts. I like to do 10. Okay. Sorry, this part's boring. I'm just doing some more research. This is a good one. Okay. This clef marks the second line. We're taking that out. This is a good one to note. Many pop songs are written in this clef. Which one do you think it is? The bass clef, the alto clef, or the treble clef? That would be the treble clef. Here's our next one. You can hear my kids in the background again. Many pop songs are written in this clef. Which one do you think it is? The bass clef, the alto clef, or the treble clef? Treble clef. Okay. It's perfect for the melodies and the high-pitched instruments that are used. I have another one that came to my mind. This clef has 2 dots that mark a special line that shares the name with the clef. Which one is it? Do you know? I forgot to say what question we're on again. I don't remember. Pop song. Did you guess the alto clef? If you did, good job. Here's our next one. This clef is... Which one is it? This clef is the treble clef. Question number 6. 6. If you did, good job. Here's our next one. Many treble clef. It's perfect for the melody. Here's 8. This clef has 2 dots. Question number 8. This clef has 2 dots that mark a special line that shares the name with the clef. Which one is it? Clef marks the middle. This... I missed that. Okay. This clef marks the middle C line on the staff, which question number 8. Question number 9. I didn't give an answer. Okay. Which one is it? That would be the bass clef. Great job if you answered that one. Question number 9. Question number 9. This clef marks the middle C line on the staff. Which one is it? Okay. Oh, I need to say that answer. One, two, three, four, five. That is the alto clef. And here's our last question. I could do one about the musical clue. What does the clef do? What does the clef do for musicians? No, 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 no. This one is not the easiest answer. No, no, no. This one is not a one-word answer. How does the clef help musicians? Okay, it provides a hint. That's kind of what I'm looking for, or it gives a musical clue. I'll give you a hint. It's something I like to say a lot when you're looking at music for the first time. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a blast. 5. It provides a musical clue telling the musicians where to play, or a hint. Did you use either of those terms? All right, great job. You guys are learning so much. All right, now here's my outro. Thanks for joining me today on the Greenhouse Music Podcast. This is Miss Delana, and I hope you enjoyed learning about the treble clef, the bass clef, and the alto clef, and had fun playing our game. Remember, clefs are the key to unlocking the magic of music. If you want to keep practicing, try finding these clefs in your favorite sheet music or draw them yourself. You can get practice sheets on my website, greenhousemusicak.com/free. Okay, free. As always, kids, keep playing, keep learning, keep growing with music, and I will see you next time. This is Miss Delana saying goodbye. That turned out well. Okay, so because I like to edit while I'm doing it, I'm not too worried about going over it again. It looks pretty clean. So now I have to find music that I want to use. And I'm kind of going for upbeat, lighthearted. So I like to use Adobe Stock. And I am out of free downloads for Adobe Stock this month. But little tip, if you go in and you search for loops, most of the time loops are free on Adobe. Some of these I really do like. I hope that I'm not just bobbing my head, but that you can actually hear them. Like this one. Okay, let's see. I think I found one that I really like. And let me see this. Okay, that's what I'm gonna use. Yeah. So you can see it's pretty short, which isn't always very helpful, but um, I like to, I'll add different music. So let me just listen to the volume. Hello, my musical friends. Welcome back to the Greenhouse Music Podcast with Miss Delena. Today we are going to talk about musical clefs. Greenhouse Music Podcast with Miss Delena. Music in here. That was one of the ones I just downloaded too. So I'm just going to go, whatcha, and get all three of them. I think this was the one that I wanted. Take those, just slide them down. Uh-oh, we froze. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna put this here. That's with Miss Delena. Hello, my musical friends. Welcome back to the Greenhouse Music Podcast with Miss Delena. That was an accident. I did not mean to put the music on the next one. Why is it there? Okay. Today we are going to talk about musical clefs. Clefs are those. So this is going to go down just a lot. I like to duplicate it. Oh no, we're going to do this. We're going to cut. Today we are going to talk about musical clefs. Clefs are those little symbols you see at the beginning of sheet music, and they're incredibly important for reading and playing music. We're going to explore the three main clefs today: the treble clef, the bass clef, and the alto clef. We'll learn about their history, how they've been used, their alternative names, why they're so important. Are you ready to unlock this musical journey with me? Okay, let's go discover. That's where I'm going to take it out and put you right here. Wait, no. We'll do this instead. It's being really slow. To know what notes we're going to play next. But which notes do we play? That's what the clef also helps. The most common clef. Okay, we're going to put this here. 4 spaces. And a clef tells us which notes go where, depending on which one we're being used. Think of it like a musical map. Without clefs, we wouldn't know how to read music. Where, depending on which one we're being used. Think of it like a musical map. Without clefs, we wouldn't know how to read music. And that would make playing instruments a lot harder. First things first. What is a clef? A clef is a musical symbol. Today, we are going to talk about. Hello, my musical friend. Oh my goodness. So it actually deleted like everything. I'm going to put a little bit of here. Hello, my musical friends. Welcome back to the Greenhouse Music Podcast with Miss Delana. Today, we are going to talk about are those little symbols you see at the beginning of sheet music, and they're incredibly important for reading and playing music. We're going to explore the three main clefs today: the treble clef, the bass clef, and the alto clef. We'll learn about their history, how they've been used, their alternative names, why they're so important. Are you ready to unlock this musical journey with me? Okay, so we're going to cut that. And I'm going to put you here. Used, their alternative names, why they're so important. Are you ready to unlock this musical journey with me? Okay, let's go discover. Their alternative names, why they're so important. Are you ready to unlock this musical journey with me? Okay, let's go discover. Okay. First things first. All right, so now we need different music. So we're going to go ahead and go down here and turn that down. What is a clef? A clef is a musical symbol that's placed at the beginning of the musical staff. And the musical staff is what we look at when we're playing an instrument or we're singing to know what notes we're going to play next. But which notes do we play? That's what the clef also helps us to know. The staff is made up of 5 lines. It provides a musical clue telling the musicians where to play. As always, kids, keep playing, I'm going to end about here. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay. One, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay. So then I export. And this actually takes quite a long time. All right. So hopefully this was maybe a little bit educational for people. It's also just really good practice for me, to be honest. Fix my headphones. I'm going to change the name now that I have it all done. I like to use alliterations as much as I can. So clef. Let's go to Google and look up names that are synonymous with awesome. Maybe like clever clef study. Creative clefs. Creative clef. Classy. Yeah, I think I like that. So this is episode 46. So now I'm going to go to Buzzsprout and This is who I do my webs or my podcast through. I like them so far. And I'm gonna upload. Oops, actually, let me go here. And I will copy. And then upload. I'm going to choose that file. Do episode 46 down here to 46. Let's see. Classy and creative clefs. Classy, creative clef. Discovery. Creative clefs. No. I'm going to go with classy and. There we go. That's weird. Okay, that's all right. So schedule for tomorrow, 10 a.m. Oops. Tomorrow's the 19th. Wow, okay. And it's all scheduled tomorrow. So thanks for watching. If you're watching a replay, just let me know. This was an experiment, but something that I kind of want to do more. So I will be sharing more of my process. This is Miss Delina Green signing off. Bye-bye.